Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. My name is Beth. Today we're going to set up my son's custom bullet journal for November 2023. Let's get started. We are going to jump right in, and for this month, Kenny has chosen Mystic Hands. You know those pictures of little witch hands you see strewn around the internet with gems and stars and tattoos and tarot cards? That's what we're going for this month. I have done a hands theme before, but for myself, last year in June of 2022, I did a hands theme for Pride Month. As usual, we're using the same materials and themes throughout the setup to keep this cohesive. So for all of my line work, I'm using a Pigma Micron 0.05. I'm also using this stencil with some headers and things to keep that consistent all the way through the journal as well. You'll see this Mr. Pen circle stencil pop up from time to time so that I can get some perfectly round moons. For this cover page, however, I am adding a little bit of a geometric element, and that's because I felt like our hands were just sort of floating lost in space and they needed a little bit of a frame, so I created a diamond-shaped frame around both sides of the spread. And they did help anchor each page and sort of pull the whole thing together. Finishing off the quote on the left side before moving on to some color, and it reads, "Magic is the poetry of impossibilities." And the main color that we're going to be using as our accent color throughout this setup is purple. So here I'm creating a little bit of a gradient on our letters to make them more interesting. These are just two different purples. These are Amazon Basics, not Tombow Dual Brush pens. I just colored the top half light purple, and then on each letter I did the bottom half dark purple, and then brought the light purple back in to blend it together. And then using the darker purple, I made sure to color all of our witchy nails as well. Our secondary accent color is gold. We do love a pop of gold on this channel. So our moons, our stars, and then I am putting in the zodiac symbols across this page as well. And there is Kenny's Mystic Hands cover page for November 2023, and we're ready to go ahead and move on to the calendar page, which I've been setting up pretty much the same way for the last few months. Here I'm starting in with stenciling in those weekday headers, and then we'll put in the structure of our calendar. I have this designed so that essentially each square is 6 dot grid spaces by 6 dot grid spaces. I just don't put in the vertical lines. There are 4 days of the week on the left side of the spread and 3 days of the week on the right side of the spread, leaving me some room for artwork depending on what day of the month the week starts on, and then always something long and singular down the right hand side. For this month, that's going to be a hand holding a snake because my beloved boy is a Slytherin just like his mother. Other images you're going to see throughout the setup are eyes. That's another one of those things that he is drawn to, and you can go back and check out a number of his bullet journal setups in the past that have an eye theme as well. And then for the color on the page, I'm keeping it cohesive. We're still going to do the gradient coloring on the days of the week. The darker purple I will use to color the nails of our witchy hands. And on this one in particular, I'm also going to do a little bit of coloring in on that eyeball. This lighter color purple is also perfect for highlighting every top row of the calendar. Now, if you look super closely, you might see some patches on this page where it is covered up with other bits of journal paper, and that is because during my pencil sketching process, somewhere along the way, my hand got into some ink and I smeared ink across this page and had to go ahead and try to cover it up even before it got ready to film. Of course, I again finished it off with some gold, and this time I used the planet symbols. Moving on to the next spread, and this is where he would normally have a financial tracker as well as a notes or brain dump page. We're going to keep the notes page on the right. For the financial tracker, we're going to change it a little bit and go ahead and put in a gift tracker for the holidays. I talked more about a gift tracker in my last video for Holiday Harmony, how to plan for the holidays, and I will link that video above if you want to check out any of those other ideas as well. You can make your gift tracker as detailed as you need to, but for this particular one, there are going to be 6 different sections for the 6 most important people in Kenny's life that he might be purchasing gifts for. And then in the columns, on the left, we have a column for the item that was purchased. We have dollar signs underneath what the amount of that item was. The blank column to the right is for him to set a budget in the purple section and deduct the cost of that item from the left column. Then we have an O for ordered, a check mark for received, and a gift box for wrapped. And this time I used the element symbols in our gold decorations and of course left the notes page open. Moving on to the weeklies, and we have 5 weeks for the month of November, so we are going to have 2 full spreads and then a half spread that have weeklies on them. And if you've been a viewer for a little while, this setup is not going to be any surprise. It's one that works for him. So down the one side of the page, we have got the days of the week for him to put in individual events and things that might be happening that day. And then he has a rolling weekly task list or an Alistair method task list to the right. And then we just flip-flop it for the other page. So on one spread, we have 2 full weeks. This always leaves room in the top center for some artwork as well as a mini calendar. And sometimes I just switch up where I place those. Last month, the mini calendar was across the middle of the page. Here, I've moved it to the right side of the spread and put the artwork on the left. And when we turn the page, I will put the mini calendar on the left and the artwork on the right, just to shake it up a little bit. On this spread, our mystic hands are looking at a fortune teller's globe, and of course I have snuck another eye symbol in there as well. And then I'm just using some stars to decorate this particular weekly. Moving on to the next pair of weeklies, and we're essentially just going to lather, rinse, and repeat. So I've gone ahead and put in our line structure. Here I'm adding in that same stencil for November, and I'm going to sketch out a similar but different pair of hands to the right. So this still has a round orb in it. It's not specifically a fortune teller's globe, but it is a round orb again with the eye, just to kind of keep that imagery the same. And then we need to get the functional bits in. So I'm highlighting the top row of every single one of those days just to make them stand out, numbering our calendar and putting in our gold accents. You've probably noticed I've also used the gold for things like rings and bracelets on the hands as well. For this weekly, I just used the stars again. Now I did kind of smoosh this one around. I got a little bit in a hurry and smudged some of that gold waiting for it to dry and had to clean some things up with a white gel pen. But we are going to do one more week here on the left, and then we will do Kenny's reflection page on the right. And I am combining his playlist into his reflection page for spacing this month. So these boxes will be where he can record each one of those songs. Just put them here on the left side of that particular spread. And I am going to draw in some more of our mystic hands. The one on the weekly page is holding a potion bottle, and the one on the right is just nestled below a moon. To add a little bit more interest to the reflection page, I did decide to add some ruled lines using the very light purple under those categories of reflection for the month. And those categories are challenges, triumphs, and favorite moments. The only thing left to do is color our mystic hand fingernails, our headers, and then add in the gold accents for this page, and we'll be done for November 2023. That will wrap that up, and we are ready to flip back to the beginning for a little bit of a flip through. Now, if you are intimidated by the drawing of hands, I know I am, I think many of us are. These are those doodles because they're line drawings that are really easy to trace if you have some sort of tracing mechanism. I know I particularly struggled with the second week of hands, not this one, but this one right here, and trying to get those shapes particularly right. That is going to be it from me today, but we have almost wrapped up Kenny's magical bullet journal journey for 2023. I do know what his theme is for December, and you definitely don't want to miss it. We will link this playlist in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you like this video, you know what to do. Please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.